Hello everyone, our video is about Somogyi Phenomenon, so let's get started.
Diabetes mellitus is a metabolic disease characterized by hyperglycemia and abnormalities in carbohydrates, protein, and fat metabolism. Diabetes mellitus has several categories, including type 1 diabetes mellitus and type 2 diabetes mellitus. With regard to type 1 diabetes mellitus, there is an absolute lack of insulin secretion due to autoimmune destruction of the pancreatic beta cells. Therefore, the treatment would be insulin-dependent treatment to mimic the physiological action of endogenous insulin. One of the main side effects that patients on insulin suffer from is hypoglycemia, and our goal is to figure out the reason behind the hypoglycemic episode, then we can fix it. But controversially, Somogyi phenomenon is one of the phenomena that occurs with insulin-dependent diabetic patients, and it is characterized by early morning hyperglycemia before breakfast. And here I'm going to clarify the cause and the treatment of the Somogyi phenomenon. Now let's answer the first question: why does Somogyi phenomenon happen? The patient takes his dose of basal insulin at bedtime or dinner, depending on his treatment regimen, and in the morning before breakfast, he measures the blood glucose level and finds it high. If we jump to the conclusion that basal insulin is not sufficient enough to maintain the glucose level in the blood during the night, and the patient increases the dose of insulin he takes, this would be a massive mistake. Let's go back a few hours ago during the patient's sleep. We will find out that the patient has midnight hypoglycemia. This means at 2 to 4 a.m., the patient's blood glucose level went down. And as we all know, when the blood glucose level is decreased, the counter-regulatory hormones will compensate for the reduction of a glucose level and ultimately resulting in hyperglycemia at the morning. So the reason behind early morning hyperglycemia is not the insufficient amount of insulin, but rather the preceding episode of hypoglycemia during the night. Now we need to figure out, why does midnight hypoglycemia happen? Quite simply, if we consider that the patient is in good glycemic control, the reason will be attributed to an increase in basal insulin dose the patient takes at dinner or bedtime. So now we aim to fix midnight hypoglycemia. As the reason is excessive basal insulin dose, the patient has to adjust the insulin dose, take a bedtime snack, or both to prevent midnight hypoglycemia. Therefore, we prevent the occurrence of early morning hyperglycemia. Now, after we demonstrate the Somogyi phenomenon, its cause and its treatment, we need to recognize the diagnostic strategy that is commonly used to identify and differentiate the Somogyi phenomenon from other causes of morning hyperglycemia. By consultation with the doctor, the patient has to measure blood glucose level for 3 consecutive nights between 2 to 4 a.m. or use a continuous glucose monitoring system. If the patient has 3 hypoglycemic episodes, the Somogyi phenomenon diagnosis is confirmed.
Thank you for reaching the end of this video. If you liked the video or it made sense for you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.